everybody, it's Heather and welcome to Mystic Musings. Today, as part of our daily October vlogs, we're going to make cookies. So this is my friend Gina.
Hi.
And she makes cookies.
Dangerous cookies, apparently.
I found some scissors. And so she made these so that they wouldn't look like blobs, which is what they would have looked like if I had made them. So the ingredients, the recipe, etc. will be in the description box, but Gina said that she has some tips about making them. So tell us what they are.
There is one tip when it comes to the butter and the salt in the recipe. If you use salted butter, I usually use less salt than the recipe calls for. If you use unsalted butter, I would use the full amount of salt that the recipe shows. Just a little helpful tip there. When it comes to icing, I follow everything in the box that Heather has shown you, but I add a little bit of lemon juice. That gives it kind of a less so much powdered sugar taste and more of a sweet kind of tangy. Not a lot, just a little. If you add too much, it'll throw off the consistency. Speaking of consistency, the recipe is going to make a really stiff icing, and you're going to think, how in the world am I supposed to do anything, draw anything, write anything with this icing? Well, you do that because there's different consistencies when it comes to making these cookies. Alright, so there's piping consistency and flooding consistency. Piping is a little thicker because you need it to stay with you as you're outlining something, writing something. That's the kind of things you would use piping consistency for. Flooding consistency is where you're doing exactly that. You've outlined it and now you're flooding that part of the cookie. We won't do a lot of that.
So if you were making like a sugar cookie and you just like filled it all in with one color, that's flooding.
That's flooding. Which we don't really, like our little voodoo guys here, we're just going to be drawing little X marks and eyes, and we're not really going to be flooding. But that's a tip for the future. If you go to make a pumpkin, say, you would outline it with orange piping consistency, which there's a test that a lot of pros use. It's called the 20-second test and the 10-second test. You're going to add enough water. After you've followed your recipe, it's going to be really stiff. You'll add just a little bit of water. I usually keep a cup of water. Heather, be my model here. Keep a cup of water with me close by when I'm decorating. In case I decide this is too thick, I can add just a little, and I mean just a little bit of water goes a long way with this icing. So we have our cup of water. I've already pre-made our icing and prepped it and colored it, and but if we decide it's too thick or too thin, you can add water to it to make it thinner. You can dust a little bit of powdered sugar to it to make it thicker. If you accidentally poured half a cup of water in your icing bowl and you're like, oh no, this isn't even horrible.
That would be me.
You can take a sifter and just dust some powdered sugar in it, stir that up, and it makes it thick again. So
magic.
So don't freak out. You can save your icing. It's not a big deal. Our little plain canvas voodoo guys.
And so I noticed that in the recipe it says that once you make the dough to chill it. I was explaining to her how terrible I am at making like cute cookies as opposed to just like blob cookies, because anytime, even if I have like a cookie cutter, they just wind up looking stupid. Like I have the sugar skull like cutouts that I told you about, and like they just all ran together and it made me sad. So
okay, so I've not done. I mean, this is pretty simple. This is just a gingerbread man cookie cutter, and the chilling thing, I think it works. I've tried it enough now. You roll out your cookies, and that's practice makes perfect kind of thing. You know, you don't want too much powder on there, too much flour, because that kicks the bottom and then they'll stick to the pan. Also, another thing I do is I lay my parchment paper in the oven, so they don't stick to the pan at all.
Oh.
So you've cut them out, you've stuck them on your parchment paper that's on your cookie sheet. Then I stick it in the freezer for maybe 5 minutes, not long, just enough that when you pull it out, you can't touch it.
They're kind of firm.
And change it, yeah. Like you can't touch it and change the level or whatever.
Okay.
So yeah, and then obviously it's dough, so it's going to expand some, but not much.
Okay.
And it'll expand in its formation rather well. And then every once in a while you'll get another little. I think the hardest part really is getting it from the cookie cutter onto the parchment paper without deforming it in the process. Because sometimes you go to shake that cookie cutter to lay it down, and one arm will hang on and the rest of the body's falling.
Yeah. So that's like a problem that every human has.
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
That makes me feel
So what
better.
I do is, I try to hold it as close as possible to the parchment paper on the cookie sheet, And then if I see one arm or one foot is hung a little bit, I'll just tap it with my finger on top and kind of wiggle that out along the way.
But you can also just roll with it. Like if they both lose their legs, then you can just make like Forrest Gump cookies.
I mean, these are
Lieutenant
voodoo guys.
Dan.
They're voodoo people. They can have missing limbs.
That's true. It just depends on how angry you are as a voodoo priest or priestess. Nice.
So what you would do is you cut the tip of your pastry bag off, like so that the coupler can fit in there. And then you would put your icing down in the pastry bag. Put your tip on. Actually, I guess you put your tip on before you put the icing in, so it doesn't go everywhere. Screw the tip on, you're secure. Put the icing in. When I go to put icing in this, I put it in saran wrap first. I'm gonna do the mummy guy. I've got my white icing. I just added a little bit of water so that it's more pliable than it was, because this was fresh, stiff icing from the recipe with nothing added to it yet. And another tip on the icing, if you want really white icing as your base before you color it, when you go to add your vanilla extract, make sure you get the clear vanilla extract, because the brown vanilla extract will tint your icing and make it kind of an ivory. But as you can see, this is bright white. It's because I used clear vanilla extract.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Okay, go the pro way.
Yeah. So I cut the tip off.
And if you want, you can stick the coupler down in there so that you kind of can know where.
Or I can just
wing it. Do it.
Who knows what's gonna happen? So I got this little guy.
It's over here, huh? Here's my blob of saran wrap icing.
Blob.
It's gonna be morph into our mummy. Okay, so you just stick it in there, keep it all together, roll it up. This is what we're gonna slide into the pastry bag. It's easier to pull through the hole at the end if you give it little twisties. This end will keep it from going everywhere and exploding inside the bag if you twist that in too. And I'm just undoing it. Okay, so here we go. A lot of times it's easier if you just kind of fold this down. Give yourself something to hold on to. Alright. I'm going to slide in our ta-ta-da, pull it through. Now we'll take our handy dandy scissors, cut the tip off right there. Now we'll slide the rest of our coupler on. First you put your tip, and then you'll secure it nice and tight. And then what I usually do is take it up here where it stops, twist it just to kind of help secure it. Squeeze. All right, let's see. Do you have that picture? Fabulous cheap trick I've learned. When you're not using your pastry bag because you want to switch to a different color, I just plop mine in a cup like so, and it keeps it from getting all over the counter. And instead, it will leak out onto your cup, and you don't have this big of a mess to clean up.
Oh, fascinating.
Pick up in the tip, and that might.
And then I
Pick whichever tip you want.
want this really itty one.
Okay.
So I'm using this one.
Good for writing. It's a
can
number.
see
The number's on the side. I think if they want to know exactly what tip, it's a number 2. And just like the mummy tip is a number 47. You can twist out. Look, here you go.
Yay! Okay, cool. Okie dokie. So I'm gonna make a little. These can be as intricate or as easy as you want them to be.
Oh yeah.
And I like that because if you wanted to do like a little family Halloween cookie party, you could.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Like this is seriously, like this is fun for all ages. Like I'm 27 years old and I like doing this, but there's kids that like doing this too. So here's my mummy guy. You can see him. Yay! Ooh.
What sound does a mummy make? That sound.
Mine makes that sound. I'm gonna send him over here to dry.
Small, Gina made this hole. It's so small that you probably can't even really see it.
That's a small enough hole that you could actually write, you know, a name.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, like, I don't even have to do anything. I'm just gonna use this for the stitches. So I think I'm gonna give him some little X hands. Look, I've just started, but isn't he cute?
I love that it has a broken heart. It's drying right now.
It's such a good little heart. Pleased with him.
Oh, very nice.
I think he's kind of adorable.
I like it.
And there you have it. So Gina made these really adorable little pants on this guy. I love that. We had a couple casualties like this poor guy, and Gina had the great idea just to make it look like we totally intended it, cover him in blood. We had a really, really good time making these. Maybe too good of a time. Is that such a thing? I don't know. But these were super fun. Really, I mean, they're only time consuming if you want them to be, which is another perk. So there you have it. Our little voodoo cookie, guys. So that's it. And I hope that you guys had a good time watching this. I hope that you try it. If you do, send me some pictures.
It's so easy.
It was really easy, I have to say. Like when we started and we were putting all the icing together, I was like, crap, what if this takes like forever? And I'm really like regretful of what's gonna happen. But it didn't take any time. It was really fun. Only time consuming depending on how detailed you want them to be. So I thought it was pretty fun.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I had a lot of fun.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for making creepy little doll cookies. I can't wait to eat them.
Like her, subscribe.
Yeah, like and subscribe. You're hired. So thanks guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.